Hello. Hey, thank you for coming to the dangersofyoga.com website. I'd like to share with you a little bit about who I am and why I have created this website. First off, my name is Chris Lawson, and I have a ministry called Spiritual Research Network. And our ministry basically exists to proclaim the biblical gospel of Jesus Christ, keep it real simple, balanced, straightforward, nothing weird, just the straightforward gospel message, okay? And at the same time to research, inform, and warn about the dangers of occultism, mysticism, and occult-based mystical spirituality, a lot of the practices that are coming into Christian churches. So that being said, I have a real big heart for people. The motivation, the thing that motivates me is the love of Christ. And through the years, over 3 decades now, 33 or so years of being in ministry, in many different variations of Christian ministry, everything from pastoring, teaching, missionary work in the US and overseas, in Scotland, in Romania, in India, in Mexico, um, doing men's Bible studies, helping put together men's conferences, just the children's ministry, surf ministry, many different avenues of this. And so over the years, what I've seen is a growing increase in Christians doing yoga. So that was the main reason behind creating the dangersofyoga.com website, because I've warned people through the years. I've even warned pastors who think it's okay to do yoga as Christians. Well, going back to the root basics of it, biblical Christianity, any form of Christianity, if you believe in Jesus, is diametrically opposed to the teachings of Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism, which all provide platforms to do yogic enlightenment. Okay. Now, I know the history of yoga and how it came to the West, and it's a lot more about the body type thing and physical health in the West, in the United Kingdom and Western Europe, in the USA and Canada. However, there are dangers associated with yoga that many, many, many people, millions of people in the West have no idea about, okay? We have over 200 books that are hard copy books in our research library that deal with yoga. They're not Christian books. They're from every variation of yoga you can think of, okay? We also have many digitized books in our archives that deal with yoga as well, written from non-Christian perspective. Now, you say, well, are there really dangers of yoga? Well, yes, there are. Okay. And so we don't collect books just to collect books and have a bunch of books on yoga. But through many years, this collection has grown because we see the dangers of yoga being put forth by people in India who are very famous across India as far as being yogis and gurus and the whole thing, yogic ashrams, people who are promoting Kundalini energy, people promoting all different types of yoga, whether it's yogic meditation or bodily postures and all these sort of things. So there's a lot of things that can happen medically where you can just literally destroy your body from a physical and physiological standpoint. But there are many, many dangers associated with it spiritually. And that's really the heart of the issue that we're trying to get at is, what are these spiritual dangers and what do they arise from? Well, the primary end goal of all yoga, as the occultists in India have testified and written about in their books, is to arouse what's known as the Kundalini serpent power. The Kundalini Shakti force. Kundalini is the serpent power of Hinduism. Again, Kundalini is known as the serpent power of Hinduism. Now, there are even people who try to combine the Kundalini serpent power with Christian teachings. It's incredible. They're trying to combine two completely different worldviews into a physical and physiological, psychophysical practice, psychospiritual practice that can absolutely destroy you. When I say destroy, I mean lead you into places where your body's destroyed, your mind's destroyed, cases of insanity, cases of demon possession, cases of demonic oppression, uh, undiagnosable diseases, conditions and symptoms and psychoses that can go on for years at a time because you've gotten involved with yoga. Now, our website's a pretty small website, but there are some simple basic warnings on the website. And in the little bookstore or the resources that we have suggested here, please take a look at them. Go get some of them. We have some of them on our bookstore website. We're not in this for making money. We don't make any money from our little online bookstore thing. But you can get books on the dangers of yoga, and that's the reason why this website is here. I've written a handful of articles on this. I've written other articles that are not on the internet currently right now, but they're about the dangers of yoga and defining what yoga is, defining the worldview. We've got audio on this on our audio podcast account about how to destroy your faith doing Christian yoga and other things like that. People, I just throw this out here. One time I sat in a church office with a few other pastors, and I was warning people in the church about the dangers of yoga and even Christian yoga. And they just laughed it off. They thought, whatever, it's Chris, he's just too extreme. Well, you know what? Some of those people I had warned, they ended up getting involved with yoga, leading a perverted lifestyle, leaving their spouses, and ruining their Christian faith. And I look back and I think, you know what? I warned them, and it's tragic to see what has happened. I warned the pastors. They just went ahead and continued to allow, junk to come into the church and infect people. They're still doing that to this very day. And I just stagger. I'm like, this is unbelievable. You warn people in love, you show them the facts, you give them the documentation, which is what I'm trying to do with our website, providing it free of charge. There it is. There's the info. You can get on the internet, you can type in dangers of yoga, yogic dangers, dangers of Kundalini arousal, dangers of yogic meditation, and you're going to find stuff. The matter here is are you going to listen? What are you going to do with the information that's presented? Because, like I said, I've warned people and they don't want to listen. Well, that's their own prerogative. If they don't want to listen to me, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I've seen the tragic freak accidents that have occurred in people's lives and in their families' lives because they've yielded themselves to occultic teachings. When I say occultic, I mean the hidden teachings or the secret things, or the idea of occultism is, energies and forces in the universe, mystical forces. And basically they're hostile forces that are demonic in origin. They come from fallen angels masquerading as spirits of this and spirits of that, or that are not biblical. They're hostile to Jesus Christ. They're hostile to Christ's resurrection from the dead. They're hostile to the Bible. They're hostile to Christians. They're hostile to sound biblical theology. And people are trying to mix their yoga and their Christian yoga and their postures to, the gods of Hinduism. Well, you can see in India. I mean, I've been to India. I've seen it. I've seen, the things that go on there. And it's like the entire culture is steeped in Hinduism. And yet people are trying to take that and say, well, let's mix it with our Christian beliefs. We can worship Yahweh through yoga, Yahweh Yoga and Christian yoga and yoga for Christ. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, I can't even put into words and express my heart's sadness over what I've seen and how I've seen well-meaning Christians get involved with Christian yoga and blow their lives out, destroy their families. And again, like I said, freak accidents. People get involved in the occult and mystical practices and thinking they can mix this with their Christianity, and their lives just get blown apart. And then they come back, or sometimes people contact me and say, yeah, I did that, and I just about got ruined. The list goes on and on. Anyway, all that being said, this is why we have started the dangersofyoga.com website. Now, hopefully this website will grow in the future. We are limited on funding. If you want to help support our work, you can do that. Any money that comes in through donations, you can click the donate page. If you want to give a gift, those monies go right back into the ministry. You know, we don't make money as, you know, from what we're doing. Donations come in, it goes right back into the work. So I would love to see this website expand, as well as our other websites. I would love to see us reach, literally, I'd love to reach millions of people with what we're doing. But it's going to take people linking, sharing the word, you know, telling other people, hey, here's a website, or here are books, or, you know, whatever it takes. There are so many people being ruined physically and spiritually because of the yogic worldview, which is occultic in nature. Much of the doctrines of yoga come through mediumistic type practices that you can see in India and across the globe. So without further ado, hey, thank you for taking a look here. And I just wanted to express kind of what we're about. And you can read more about us on the About Us page, or you can go over to spiritualresearchnetwork.org. And we've got a more lengthy About Us page over there. And you can just find out more about what we're doing. And again, last thing I'll finish on here is just so you know where my heart's at, man. I really, really, like, I care about people. And I want to see people led out of error and into a healthy, good, solid form of living, you know, based on the principles of the Bible, Scripture, not off into any weird, esoteric, mystical, strange Christian practices, but just living a normal, healthy life. So that's our goal here. I hope you've enjoyed this little educational video. And thanks again.